Have you ever noticed how the most painful moments of your life often become the very experiences that shape who you become? Right now, you might be struggling to understand why certain things happen to you. A relationship that ended when you gave everything, a job loss that came without warning, a betrayal from someone you trusted completely. Your logical mind searches for answers, but finds only more questions echoing in the silence. Today, I want to share with you an ancient Buddhist understanding that has brought peace to millions of souls across centuries. It's not a simple platitude or empty comfort. It's a profound recognition of how the universe actually works, how every thread of your experience, even the dark ones, is being woven into a tapestry of meaning far more beautiful than you can currently imagine. Through stories passed down from Buddhist masters and real-life transformations, you'll discover why nothing in your life is random, and how this understanding can fundamentally transform not just your perspective, but your entire experience of being alive. Part 1: The Potter's Broken Masterpiece, an Ancient Buddhist Tale. In a small village at the foot of the Himalayas, there lived a potter named Kushal whose ceramics were so beautiful that people traveled from distant kingdoms to purchase them. His pride and joy was a massive vase he'd been perfecting for 3 years, intended as a gift for the Buddha himself when he next visited their region. Every morning, Kushal would wake before dawn to work on this vase, adding intricate patterns that told the story of the Buddha's enlightenment. The village children would gather to watch him work, mesmerized by how his weathered hands could create such delicate beauty. His wife, Mira, would bring him tea, smiling at how absorbed he became in his craft, like a meditation in motion. One fateful morning, as Kushal was adding the final touches, his young apprentice, Ravi, accidentally knocked over a tool shelf. The heavy wooden beam crashed down, shattering the precious vase into countless fragments. The sound seemed to tear through the fabric of reality itself. The entire village heard it and knew immediately what had happened. Ravi fell to his knees, his face white with horror. "Master, I've destroyed everything. 3 years of your life, gone because of my clumsiness." The villagers expected Kushal to rage, to banish the boy, perhaps even to strike him. Instead, something extraordinary happened. Kushal stood very still, looking at the ruins of his masterwork scattered across the floor like broken dreams. A single tear rolled down his cheek. Then, inexplicably, he began to smile. "Ravi," he said gently, kneeling beside the trembling boy, "do you know what I see in these broken pieces?" "Failure, master. Destruction." "I see liberation," Kushal replied. "For 3 years, I've been enslaved to this vase. I missed my daughter's wedding ceremony because I was perfecting a glaze. I ignored my aging mother's calls for help because I was carving details. I became so obsessed with creating something permanent that I forgot everything in this world is impermanent." He picked up a large shard, holding it to catch the morning light streaming through the window. The Buddha teaches that attachment to any form, no matter how beautiful, is a source of suffering. This vase was always going to break, if not today, then in 100 years, or 1,000. "You didn't destroy my work, Ravi. You freed me from my delusion. But the story doesn't end there." Kushal gathered all the broken pieces and began creating something new. He invited every villager to contribute their own broken pottery, cups from deceased grandparents, bowls from failed marriages, vases from lost children. Together, they created a massive mosaic mandala in the village center, each broken piece catching the light differently, creating rainbows where there had been only sharp edges. When the Buddha finally arrived and saw the mosaic, he sat before it in meditation for 3 days. On the third day, he said, "This broken masterpiece teaches what no perfect vase ever could, that beauty isn't in the preservation of form, but in the transformation of suffering into wisdom, separation into unity, brokenness into wholeness." The mosaic became a pilgrimage site. People brought their broken things and broken hearts, adding pieces to the ever-growing mandala. Many reported healing simply from contributing their fragments to something larger than their individual pain. The profound teaching, understanding interconnected karma. This story reveals multiple layers of Buddhist wisdom. First, there's the teaching of anicca, impermanence. Everything that exists will eventually cease to exist in its current form. But deeper than this is the understanding of karma not as punishment and reward, but as an intricate web of interconnected causation. Consider the chain of events. If Ravi hadn't broken the vase, Kushal would have remained trapped in his obsession. If Kushal hadn't been freed from his attachment, he wouldn't have created the mosaic. If the mosaic hadn't been created, thousands of people wouldn't have found healing. What appeared as destruction was actually creation in disguise. The Buddha taught about praditya samutpada, dependent origination, which reveals that nothing exists independently. Every event arises from countless causes and conditions, and creates countless effects that ripple through time and space. That broken vase is still creating healing today through this story, reaching you in this very moment, perhaps exactly when you needed to hear it. This is why Buddhism teaches that there are no accidents, only encounters we don't yet understand. Every person who enters your life, every situation that challenges you, every loss that breaks you open, they're all part of an infinite web of causation that's ultimately guiding you toward awakening. Part 2. The Banker Who Lost Everything, a Modern Parable. David Chen was an investment banker who measured his worth in numbers: net worth, square footage, horsepower. At 35, he managed a portfolio worth hundreds of millions. He worked 18-hour days, sustained by expensive coffee and the adrenaline of making deals that moved markets. His wife, Sarah, and daughter, Emma, became strangers who happened to live in his house. Then 2008 happened. The financial crisis didn't just take his job, it obliterated his entire industry. Worse, he'd invested everything in his own company's stock. Within 3 weeks, he went from millionaire to facing bankruptcy. The house was foreclosed. His wife, exhausted from years of emotional absence, filed for divorce. David found himself living in a studio apartment, working as a part-time bookkeeper, and seeing Emma every other weekend. Rage consumed him. He'd followed all the rules, worked harder than anyone, sacrificed everything. For what? The unfairness of it all burned like acid in his chest. One Saturday, Emma, now 8 years old, asked him to take her to a meditation class her mother had enrolled her in. David planned to drop her off, but Emma insisted he stay. "Please, Daddy. You look so sad all the time. Maybe this will help." The teacher, an elderly Vietnamese woman named Tien, began the children's class with a story. Imagine you're holding a cup of tea, but you're gripping it so tightly that your hand shakes, spilling the tea, burning your fingers. A wise person comes and says, "Let go of the cup." But you say, "I can't. This is my special cup." So you keep holding, keep burning, keep spilling. One day, the cup breaks anyway, and suddenly your hands are free. You realize the cup was never the source of tea, it was just a temporary container. She had the children practice holding things lightly, feathers, flowers, even their own breath. "Hold everything like you're holding a butterfly," she said. "Appreciate it fully, but be ready to let it fly." David found himself crying silently in the back row. His entire life had been gripping success, gripping control, gripping an image of who he thought he should be. After class, Emma held his hand. "Daddy," Teacher Tien said, "when we lose something, we make space for something new. Maybe you lost your old job so you could find a better life." That night, David couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m., he did something he'd never done in his driven, goal-oriented life. He sat still and did absolutely nothing. No phone, no planning, no analyzing. Just sitting with the raw reality of his life. In that stillness, memories surfaced. Emma, age 3, asking him to read her a story. Later, "Sweetie, Daddy's working." Sarah suggested they take a vacation, maybe next quarter. His father's funeral, which he'd attended by phone from a business trip. He'd been so busy climbing the ladder that he'd never noticed it was leaning against the wrong wall. The next morning, David made a decision. Instead of trying to claw back to his old life, he would build something entirely new. He started teaching free financial literacy classes at the community center, helping people avoid the mistakes that had ruined so many lives in the crisis. Word spread. Soon, he was counseling families facing foreclosure, teaching teenagers about compound interest, and helping seniors navigate retirement. One of his students, a single mother named Maria, said something that stopped him cold. "Mr. Chen, you're not teaching us about money. You're teaching us about values. You're the first financial person who ever told me that my worth isn't determined by my net worth." A year later, David started a nonprofit focused on financial education for underserved communities. It grew slowly but steadily. His relationship with Emma transformed. Instead of being the absent provider, he became the present father. Sarah, seeing his transformation, became supportive and friendly. They didn't remarry, but they became true co-parents. 5 years after losing everything, David was invited to speak at his old firm's conference. Standing at the podium where he'd once announced million-dollar deals, he said, "I used to think success meant having everything. Now I know it means appreciating everything. I had to lose my fortune to find my purpose. I had to fail at being who I thought I should be to succeed at being who I truly am." Subscribe to Buddha Coha for more life-changing Buddhist wisdom that reveals the hidden blessings in your greatest challenges. The Deep Wisdom: How Acceptance Transforms Reality. David's journey illustrates a fundamental Buddhist principle: suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from our resistance to what happens. The Buddha called this the second arrow teaching. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain of life, loss, illness, death. But the second arrow is the one we shoot at ourselves through resistance, resentment, and refusal to accept reality. When David stopped fighting against his circumstances and accepted them, something miraculous happened. The energy he'd been using to resist became available for transformation. This is what Buddhists call skillful action or upaya. It's not passive resignation but active engagement with reality as it is, not as we wish it were. The Buddha taught that every experience contains what he called the seed of enlightenment. Your failures contain the seeds of humility. Your losses contain the seeds of non-attachment. Your pain contains the seeds of compassion. But these seeds can only sprout when you stop poisoning the soil with bitterness and resistance. Part 3: The Doctor Who Couldn't Heal, a Zen Story. Dr. Akiko Yamamoto was a renowned surgeon in Tokyo whose hands had saved thousands of lives. She worked with machine-like precision, never making mistakes, never showing emotion. Colleagues called her the robot behind her back, but she wore it as a badge of honor. Emotion was weakness, control was everything. Then, at age 42, her hands began to tremble. The diagnosis was devastating: early-onset Parkinson's disease. The very hands that defined her worth would betray her. Within a year, she could no longer perform surgery. The hospital offered her an administrative position, but she couldn't bear to walk those halls without her surgical scrubs, her identity. Akiko retreated to her apartment, refusing visitors, refusing help. Her sister finally forced her to attend a Zen temple retreat, threatening to have her hospitalized for depression if she didn't go. At the temple, the master, an ancient man named Yamada Rashi, noticed her immediately. During walking meditation, while others moved smoothly, Akiko struggled with each step, her body betraying her attempts at control. "Why do you fight your body?" he asked her privately. "Because it's broken. It's failing me." Or perhaps, he said gently, "it's teaching you. Come." He led her to the temple garden where a cherry tree grew at an impossible angle, nearly horizontal, yet still blooming magnificently. "This tree was struck by lightning 20 years ago," he explained. "It could have died trying to grow straight again. Instead, it accepted its new form and found a different way to reach the light. Now it's the most photographed tree in Kyoto. People find more beauty in its brokenness than in all the perfect trees combined." Akiko stared at the tree, something shifting inside her chest. "You were a surgeon," Yamada Rashi continued. "You fixed bodies. But bodies are just temporary vessels. Perhaps your true calling was never about the surgery itself, but about healing, and healing takes many forms." During the retreat, Akiko was assigned to work with a young monk named Taro, who had severe anxiety that prevented him from speaking publicly. As she helped him with breathing exercises, she'd learned to manage her own symptoms, and she discovered something remarkable: she could still heal, just differently. She began teaching meditation techniques to other patients with neurological conditions. Her trembling hands, which she'd seen as symbols of failure, became bridges of connection. Patients trusted her because she truly understood their fear, their loss of control, their grief for who they used to be. One day, a former patient visited her at the wellness center she'd eventually opened. "Dr. Yamamoto, when you performed my heart surgery 5 years ago, you saved my life. But what you're doing now, teaching me to live with my chronic pain through meditation, you're saving my soul. Any surgeon could have fixed my heart. Only someone who's truly suffered could teach me to find peace in imperfection." Akiko's tremor worsened over the years, but her impact grew. She developed innovative meditation techniques specifically for people with movement disorders. Her TED Talk, "The Gift of Losing Control," went viral. Medical schools invited her to teach young doctors about the humanity behind the medicine. Standing before a group of surgeons years later, her hands visibly shaking as she held the microphone, she said, "I spent 20 years perfecting the steadiest hands in Japan. I had to lose that steadiness to discover that healing happens not through perfect control, but through imperfect connection. My Parkinson's didn't end my purpose, it revealed it." Part 4, The Universe as Teacher, Understanding Cosmic Curriculum. These stories, the potter, the banker, the surgeon, all point to a profound Buddhist understanding: life itself is a teacher, and every experience is part of your curriculum for awakening. The universe doesn't make mistakes. What you're experiencing right now, however difficult, is exactly what you need for your soul's evolution. This isn't spiritual bypassing or toxic positivity. The Buddha never said suffering doesn't hurt. He said suffering has a purpose: to wake us up from the illusion that we're separate, permanent, and in control. Every loss teaches impermanence. Every betrayal teaches discernment. Every illness teaches compassion. Every death teaches us to cherish life. In Buddhism, this is called the path of purification. Just as gold must be heated to remove impurities, consciousness must pass through the fire of experience to burn away ignorance, attachment, and the illusion of separation. Your challenges aren't punishments, they're refinements. Part 5: Practical Integration: Living this Truth Daily. Understanding intellectually that everything happens for a reason is one thing. Living this truth when you're in pain is another. Here are practical Buddhist practices to help you integrate this wisdom. The Morning Question Practice. Each morning, ask yourself, if everything I experience today is designed for my awakening, how would I meet it differently? This simple reframe transforms you from victim to student. The Evening Gratitude Review. Before sleep, identify 3 challenging moments from your day. For each, complete this sentence: "This was difficult, and it taught me." This practice literally rewires your brain to find meaning in struggle. The Mirror Meditation. When someone triggers strong emotions in you, sit quietly and ask, what quality in this person am I not accepting in myself? Often, our strongest reactions to others are reflections of our own shadow material seeking integration. The Broken Bowl Practice. Keep something broken but beautiful: a cracked cup, a torn photograph, a dead flower. Use it as a meditation object, contemplating how brokenness and beauty coexist. This trains your mind to find perfection in imperfection. The Story Rewrite. Take your most painful memory. Write it from 3 perspectives: as a tragedy, as a comedy, and as a hero's journey. Notice how the same events can carry completely different meanings depending on the narrative frame. You have the power to choose your story's meaning. Buddha's essential teachings for your journey. These words from the Buddha can serve as guiding stars through your darkest nights. The secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn for the past, nor to worry about the future, but to live the present moment wisely and earnestly. Your power exists only in this moment. Here, now, you can choose your response. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Life will bring pain. Whether that pain becomes suffering depends on your relationship with it. What we think, we become. What we feel, we attract. What we imagine, we create. Your inner state shapes your outer reality. Transform your mind, transform your life. Hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is an eternal law. Breaking cycles of pain requires a different energy than what created them. Meet hatred with love, fear with compassion, confusion with clarity. Final integration: becoming a conscious participant. As we near the end of our journey together today, let's crystallize the ultimate teaching: you are not a passive recipient of random events. You are a conscious participant in the universe's evolution toward greater awareness, compassion, and unity. Every challenge you face is an invitation to grow. Every loss is an invitation to let go. Every betrayal is an invitation to discern. Every illness is an invitation to appreciate health. Every conflict is an invitation to find peace. The universe is constantly inviting you to become more fully who you truly are. This doesn't mean you should seek suffering or remain in harmful situations. It means recognizing that even in leaving, even in setting boundaries, even in saying no, you're participating in the dance of consciousness, learning about itself through infinite experiences. Tomorrow, when you face your first challenge, remember Kushal, whose broken vase became a healing mandala for thousands. When you lose something precious, remember David, who had to lose his fortune to find his purpose. When your body fails you, remember Dr. Yamamoto discovering that her trembling hands could heal in ways her steady hands never could. Your sacred journey, the recognition. Here's the final secret: the reason everything happens for a reason is because you give it reason. The universe provides the experiences, you provide the meaning. Together, you and the cosmos are co-creating a story of awakening. Your life is not a random collection of events. It's a carefully orchestrated symphony, and you're both the audience and the conductor. Every note, even the discordant ones, contributes to the overall masterpiece. Within you lies Buddha nature, the same awakened consciousness that has guided teachers throughout history. Every experience in your life has been watering this seed of awakening. Your successes taught you gratitude. Your failures taught you humility. Your loves taught you to open. Your losses taught you to let go. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been wrong. Even your mistakes were perfect teachings, showing you exactly what you needed to learn when you needed to learn it. Trust the process. Trust that the same intelligence that spirals galaxies and blooms flowers is orchestrating your life with infinite wisdom and boundless compassion. You are held by the universe as tenderly as the ocean holds each wave. Everything, absolutely everything, happens for a reason. And that reason is love, love discovering itself through the magnificent, messy, perfect imperfection of your human journey. If this message resonated with your soul, please subscribe to Buddha Coha for more transformative Buddhist wisdom. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that their struggles have meaning. Together, let's awaken to the profound truth that we're all walking each other home. May you find peace in the purpose. May you find grace in the growth. May you recognize the love that orchestrates it all. Namo Amitabha Buddha.